Good morning, everyone. Oh, that's what my voice sounds like. All right. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for letting me speak today, especially on such an onerous day. I appreciate the fact that you all have given me the opportunity to have my voice heard today. All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jesse Solarzano. I'm a 20-year-old college student currently attending College of the Desert. As she said, Sorry guys, a little nervous. All right. I'm currently majoring in psychology, and I'm also the president of the College of the Desert, GSA. The fact that I'm standing here today in front of you all shows how much change can happen and how quickly it can happen. I've been living in this valley my entire life, and while many know this valley is widely accepting of LGBTQ rights, I grew up in a fairly conservative atmosphere in a Roman Catholic family, where being gay wasn't exactly a conversation that was to be had. In fact, it wasn't until let me go back a little bit. I hadn't even known about any of the LGBTQI communities until I had reached my first year in high school. And until then, it was kind of devastating to see how sheltered I had been from all this, for especially the early years of my childhood. All right. And in that first week of high school, that was the epiphany I had, that I wasn't alone. You see, before that, I was teased with those derogatory terms that I won't say today about anybody that was deemed differently at the time. And while I was being called those names, I didn't even have an idea of what those names even meant. Before high school, I didn't even know what it meant to be gay, or bi, or transgendered, or any of this. You see, I always had the feelings inside me, but I didn't know what they were called, I had even thought that they were a passing period in my life. Like I said, it was not until high school when I realized that I wasn't alone with these feelings, and I was able to fully accept myself by that time. It was a very liberating feeling, and the one thing that helped me get through it was the fact that I knew that I wasn't alone. I recall in high school, it was not until my junior year where I had officially come out. At the time, I was dating one of my best friends. I had known her because we grew up together in the church since we were, I'll say, 3. At the time when I came out, we had already been dating for, I'll say, well under a year. A couple months before I broke up with her and came out to all my friends and family, she had something important to tell me. I could tell she was as nervous as I was the day that I came out. She came up to me and said, "I have something to tell you." And I said, "What's that?" And she thinks, I don't think because of what the church says and what my parents say, there should be no sexual intimacy until after marriage. And I told her, that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't see why everybody else is making such a big fuss of it. Heck, we can wait till our 30s. All right. When I did come out in September of 2008, I wasn't sure what to expect. I was surrounded by horror stories of all these mothers and fathers abandoning their sons and daughters simply because of the fact that they were gay. For that reason, instead of going to my parents at first, I decided to speak to my sisters about it at first. From then on, I spoke to my friends and eventually told my parents, who out of everyone before them took it the hardest. So much so that it nearly took 2 years for them to fully come around to full acceptance. I know that in many ways, I've had it far easier than others before me, and even in this day and time, I still consider that very unfortunate. And though I've never had what you call a mentor in this whole coming out process when I was younger, the very fact that my sisters, my friends, family, and eventually my parents never turned me away was more than the support I ever needed. Let me see. It brought me all the comfort I needed to make my life easier, especially during the day of coming out. I do consider myself one of the lucky ones. Let me see. Yeah. Since 2008, the amount of progress within our community has been outstanding. As of this month, we have 12 states that currently allow same-sex marriage, as well as the District of Columbia and 3 national American tribes. The Supreme Court is about to rule on whether or not the Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional, as well as ruling on whether California's Proposition 8 is constitutional as well. We are perhaps teetering on the brink of seeing full marriage equality recognition in the entire country. It's a very exciting time for us, and one that all of us, I know, are watching very closely. These are two quotes from the man himself, Harvey Milk, that I would like to share with all of you. The first one is, "It takes no compromising to give people their rights. It takes no money to respect the individual. It takes no survey to remove repressions." And the other one, which many of us, especially me, hold dearly in our hearts, is, "Hope will never be silent." These two quotes are why I feel it is very important for us to speak of our journeys. We are no different than anyone else in this land, and that is why we must not remain silent or alone in our pride and in our need to make it clear to the community that we are not here to ask for special rights, but in fact, equal rights. Thank you.
I know that you cannot live on hope alone, but without it, life is not worth living. And you've got to give them hope. Thank you very much.